Welcome to it. You're watching your news bulletin with myself, Namhla, all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. Here are your headlines. Mom and 2 children among 6 dead in Welkom horror car crash. Realty regulator suffers setback in 1.5 million defamation claim against DAMP. 2 sex-pest teachers fired for targeting teenage pupils. Eastern Cape tops a provincial list for COVID-19 deaths in hospital. Baboon on the loose in Johannesburg, spotted on roof of hospital. ANC NEC fails to reach decision on fate of members facing criminal charges. CCMA must make do with its budget allocation, says Nc. Mall manager who humiliated Thando Mahlangu must say sorry, traditional authority says. Let's take a short break. Welcome back. Here are your main news bulletin. Mom and 2 children among 6 dead in Welkom horror car crash. 6 people died after 2 vehicles collided on the R30 outside Welkom in the Free State. A white BMW traveling in the direction of Welkom and a Toyota Avanza in the opposite direction collided just before 7 a.m. Provincial police spokesperson Mambo said it was alleged that the driver of the BMW lost control of the car. 4 people traveling in the Avanza, a 43-year-old mother and her 2 toddlers and a man unrelated to them, died on the scene. Her husband and their 13-year-old daughter were rushed to hospital. The 46-year-old driver of the BMW and a woman were also declared dead at the scene, Mambo said. Our next story, realty regulator suffers setback in 1.5 million defamation claim against DAMP. The boss of the estate agency regulator has been dealt an early blow in her fight to extract 1.5 million in defamation charges from a DAMP. Mlaudzi has been given 10 days to hand over documents requested by Emma Powell. It does not comply with Judge Derek Willie's order in the Cape Town High Court. Powell will be able to apply for the dismissal of Mlaudzi's claim. The papers the CEO of the State Agency Affairs Board, EAAB, must hand to Powell include board minutes, pay slips, complaints made about her and court papers in another defamation action that has been brought against board member Eugenia. And our next story, 2 sex-pest teachers fired for targeting teenage pupils. 2 teachers have been fired for misconduct after sexually inappropriate behavior with female pupils. In the first case, a history and Sesotho teacher at a Gauteng secondary school tried to kiss a grade 10 girl and caressed and kissed another. In the second case, a teacher at a KwaZulu-Natal primary school enticed a 15-year-old pupil to his house and had sex with her. The 2 men are just the latest in a string of teachers whose dismissals for sexual misconduct with pupils have been confirmed in recent months by the Education Labour Relations Council. The fired teacher at Bupilong Secondary School in Vanderbijl Park had a consistent pattern of conduct and modus operandi in dealing with learners that caught his fancy. Our next story, Eastern Cape tops provincial list for COVID-19 deaths in hospital. The Eastern Cape, Limpopo, Mpumalanga and KwaZulu-Natal have had the highest proportion of deaths from COVID-19 cases to date, with case fatality rates exceeding the national in-hospital average of 22%. Vice Professor Cheryl Cohen said the case fatality rate varied by province and between the private and public health sectors. Provincial case fatality rates from hospitalized patients are as follows: Eastern Cape 32%, Limpopo 29%, Mpumalanga 25%, KwaZulu-Natal 24%, Free State 22%, Gauteng 20%, Northern Cape 19%, Western Cape 18% and North West 14%. Private hospitals had a lower case fatality rate, that's 18%, than the public hospitals rate of 25%, said Cohen, co-head of the Center of the Respiratory Disease and Meningitis at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases. Baboon on the loose in Johannesburg, spotted on roof of hospital. A baboon has been spotted on the loose in the streets of Johannesburg and even on the roof of a hospital. Founder of community-led animal welfare, Cara Bailey, said that the male baboon is believed to be from the Cradle area west of Johannesburg. Baboons live in huge family groups, and when the male baboons become adults, they cannot stay with the troop any longer. In order for genetic diversity, male baboons leave the troop they were born in. Sometimes they are ousted and sometimes they leave on their own accord. This is the case with this baboon, and he is not the first. We have had several in the recent past. A lot of them seem to follow the same route. Due to rapid urbanization, it has become extremely difficult for baboons to find other troops, Bailey said. Moving on to our next story, ANC NEC fails to reach decision on fate of members facing criminal charges. It appears that the African National Congress, that's the ANC National Executive Committee, NEC meeting set to resolve the impasses over the future of Secretary General Ace Magashule and others facing criminal charges has failed to reach a decision. It's understood the attempts to give those affected 7 days to step aside or face suspensions. All right, our next story, Labour Minister Thando Mahlangu has urged the CCMA to make do with what it has pressure mounted for the entity's budget cuts to be reversed. The CCMA has had to stop using about 500 part-time commissioners who worked on labour dispute resolution since last December due to 617 million being cut from its budget as part of the government spending. Thando Mahlangu was not sympathetic to the CCMA's dilemma in his wide-ranging interview with Eyewitness News, saying that it would be unrealistic to expect businesses to continue as usual despite the fiscus's revenue challenges and high debt rate. And then, mall manager who humiliated Thando Mahlangu must say sorry, traditional authority says. The mall manager who humiliated Ndebele activist and author Thando Mahlangu by denying him entry to a Midrand store this week must apologize and pay damages known as inhlawulo. This is according to Inkosi Mahlangu of the Amandebele traditional authority, who was speaking during the visit by the South African Human Rights Commission. Traditional authority in Sokhulumi to meet Inkosi Mahlangu and Thando Mahlangu, but the latter wasn't present because he was still traumatized by what happened to him in the past week. The Ndebele activist was thrust into the spotlight after he was told to leave the Click store in the Boulders shopping center in Midrand because of the attire that he was wearing. And that brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to please send us your suggestions and your comments. The address is on your screen. We love hearing from you. Till next time, stay blessed. Thank you.